I'm Ryan Maurer, and I'm going to be interviewing the first half of Hello Whirled today.
I'm Ben. I write the songs and record most of the songs.
I'm Danny. I play guitar in the live band.
Where are you guys from?
I am from Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
All right.
I'm from Columbus, New Jersey. It's also Burlington County. We're south here.
Opposite ends of the county.
So when did you guys form the band?
Hello Whirled, as an entity, started officially on October 4th, 2016. I was in high school, and it was a solo project because I had another band in high school, and I wanted to do some stuff on my own again. Mm-hmm. So I started it as a solo project, and technically it still is. So yeah, I started it in late 2016. Didn't know anyone else who's currently in the band, and I did that for a while. The lineup that we have now, which is the two of us, and then also Evan, who's running the whole amped thing over there, and then Nick, who's drumming in a lot of the bands and is doing a lot down in Glassboro. I met Danny within a week of starting here at TCNJ. Danny joined the live band during the pandemic, I think sometime in 2020, because when I realized shows weren't going to happen, I thought, well, shows aren't happening this year. I decided I was going to make a Hello Whirled album that wouldn't just be me on it. And I said, all right, I'm going to get the people who I wanted to be in the live band on this album. Mm-hmm. And during that period working on it, Danny got an interface and a microphone and was able to add parts to the whole album. So at that point, I was like, okay, when Hello Whirled can be a band again on a stage, then Danny's going to be in it. Evan, I met in Amped, I think in 2019, and then reconnected with when I came back as an alumnus to do a Haunted Hallway in fall 2021. Evan joined, I think, late 2021 for a show that ended up getting canceled because Omicron hit. We had a lineup, and it was us, and it was another musician named Angela, who I also knew from TCNJ. I think she's still here, actually. Nick joined, I guess, officially in May or June of last year. The first Hello Whirled concert was in the courtyard behind the art building. It was a messy. It was a messy set, but the good parts were good. It was October 2017, and I don't think we would be here if that show hadn't happened, and if I hadn't continued to be involved with Amped over the years and gotten various shows with Amped, like the live band, the existence of a band. There being a band for Hello Whirled had its genesis in, knowing people in Amped and getting a couple sudden opportunities to put a thing together. So this lineup has been together for almost a year.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's some good history there.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So regarding songwriting, what is your most favorite song that you've written?
Favorite song I've written? Oh, there are a lot of answers to that.
And I've heard you've had like a lot.
Well over 1,000. Yeah. Okay, I'll give a few answers and explain why, because I see some of my songs as being fairly different from others. Mm-hmm. So to be like, I have one favorite song, it's like there are types of songs I've done where it's like, that would sort of exclude that. Lately, we've been ending our sets with a song called World Beater, which I'm very proud of, because my favorite band is Guided by Voices. I'm a big fan of songs that get a lot done in very little time. So to write a song that's structured in such a way that it has to be at least 5 minutes long is something that I don't normally do. But for it to feel so fluid and feel so natural, and for us to be able to play it feels like an achievement. I know when Hello Whirled started in 2016, I could not have done that.
And this, even by the title, it sounds like a perfect movie title too.
Oh yeah,
with the world in it.
Yeah.
It's thematic.
It could be like Wayne's World, but
yeah.
It might be a bit darker of a movie than Wayne's World, but there's another song that isn't out yet, and I don't think the rest of the band have heard it yet because I wrote it like last week, called Fate Fades In and Out, which is a lot simpler. Like, it's much simpler, but it's still I think 4 minutes long.
I'm excited.
Just by chance, the lyrics are simple, the music is fairly simple, at least to my ears. But I've been recording on tape lately, and that was something that came out of hitting record and seeing what would happen. So Guided by Voices are an influence on me, probably the most direct way, because that's a band I found in middle school. Fast forward to now, I've met the band. They're great.
It's awesome.
Yeah, talk to them about their music, and they're like, oh yeah, we have tons of fun. Guided by Voice, another very prolific band, another band that has hundreds, if not thousands, of songs. These days, they're rocking multiple albums a year, which just for me, who's always had that kind of ethic of always working, cool, get the material out. I'm very antsy. I don't like sitting on something for too long. My second favorite band is Wire, who were like that as well, of just like, oh, okay, cool, the album is done. Immediately move on and say, okay, this is done. let's see what we can do from here. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep trying something new. That's something I find I strive for.
Originally, a lot of it was the Black Angels.
Okay.
I'm really into psych rock, and I also like noise stuff like that. So getting to bring it into like an indie space, it's easy with like the shoegaze style.
The shoegaze I was listening to, like in the middle of high school, was still ultimately an influence in the grand scheme of things. Like Shore Self is sort of like, after listening to a lot of like Feeble Little Horse and X-Pilots, there are a lot of really good shoegaze bands up in Pittsburgh.
Aside from artists,
Yeah.
what's the genre? So shoegaze, or is that the artist?
I would see, for the longest time, I found it easy to just call Hello Whirled lo-fi indie, because most of my favorite bands were that. And then in 2021, I started listening to weirder stuff, and the music sort of went with it in that sense. These days, I think I pitched us to a couple venues in Philly as melodic noise rock, which probably isn't really true. I think people who really like noise rock would probably be annoyed that we call ourselves that, but
They listen to noise rock, so
yeah, I don't know. At some point, I think I said we're post-punk and post-hardcore, because you'd think there'd be a band who would be both, and I couldn't think of any.
I'm sure by now, like with this
Yeah.
music industry, there has to be more
so many
genres,
bands out there.
Yeah.
subgenres even.
Oh, so many beautiful little subgenres.
In metal especially.
Oh God, I did not listen to any metal till 2 months ago when Boris finally clicked for me. And it's like, oh, there is a lot. Like I knew there was a lot to metal, but boy, there's a lot to metal.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
And the final question for tonight is, what are the plans for the future? Do you have like an album coming out? Do you have
Boy, do we ever.
tours?
Well, we've already put out 2 albums this year.
All right.
And there's definitely going to be 2 more. Because I realized real quick that most bands do not work at this rate. Most bands don't put out 4 albums ever, let alone in 1 year. So to any aspiring musicians and songwriters at home watching this, I'm not going to recommend matching my work ethic. That's not a brag. I'm just saying most people don't think like this. Most people don't commit this much at the expense of lots of other stuff, let's face it. So like, don't watch this and go, if I do 4 albums in a year, I'll be legit. No, work at your own pace. Find an ethic that works for you. It's just, this is what works for me.
Yeah.
We're working on an album as a full band in the TCNJ studio, actually. That's going to be called Questions for Concerned Citizens, and the hope is to have it out in June.
And
But
what
it's-
else is happening in June, Ben?
We are touring a little bit.
Awesome.
We're going on a short little tour around the Northeast. That'll be a June 8th to 11th.
That sounds.
And then sometime, probably August, will be another album that's just me, all recorded on a Yamaha MT8X 8-track tape machine. And that'll be called No Use Crying Over Spilled Blood.
You got a lot planned. That's exciting.
I'm always thinking ahead. To say nothing of the side projects. Fog Cough, Embalming Druid, Bushworms, Flood Damage, all real bands. Yeah. That's those names will be a bit relevant later.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
If Fog Cough ever takes off.
Probably will. We're meeting tomorrow to figure out what Fog Cough is going to be.
It sounds.
We think it's going to be like,
Funeral metal, doom metal, that sort of thing.
yeah,
I feel that.
slow and heavy.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And I look forward to all the new stuff that you have
Thank you.
planned.
You're very welcome.